FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
We wrote about a bunch of cab drivers up in Wisconsin back in the 1970s, working for a company that just ran roughshod over them, treated them with all the respect of a Kleenex, you know, and they were making 40 cents an hour. As one of them told me, you know, if you pay peanuts, you're going to get monkeys, you know, and so, you know, high turnover, that sort of thing. So the workers decided, well, you know, this isn't fair, we'll do something about it, and so they formed a union. And of course the owner of the cab company wouldn't accept that, so the workers went on strike to establish their union. They won that strike. And then, because they had a 95% sign-up by the cab drivers, so the owner had to acquiesce to it, but then the owner tried to fire everybody who was involved in organizing the union, so they had to have another strike. Then they had to have another strike before finally they won, but the owner said, well, to hell with y'all, I'm just shutting it down. And then the cabbies thought, well, you know, who drives the cabs? Who does the dispatching? Who does the maintenance on these cars? Well, we do. So maybe we could run this place ourselves. And to make a long and good story short, over the years they built a remarkable worker-owned and managed cooperative enterprise called the Madison Cab Co-op. And I learned about this. We didn't have to do any research, by the way, on this book. It's just folks we encountered around the country. I learned about this one by taking a cab to the airport, and the guy turned back to me, the driver, and said, you know you're in a union cab. I said, well, no, I did not. And so he explained he had been one of the founders of this co-op, and he explained to me that because of the co-op and the democratic principles that they established and the leadership that they provided, that he had been able to put his two kids through college driving a cab. Not a lot of that going on around the country. They've had enormous success. Just to give you a sample here, $6 million in annual revenues now in this cab cooperative, 200 employees, average wage above $28,000 a year, which is well above the living wage in Wisconsin, 63 taxis, 3 full-time mechanics, a 3-bay maintenance shop, an on-site fueling station, a 6-person dispatch center, and a customer satisfaction level above 90%, the highest in the state of Wisconsin. People making a difference. Another story, down in Texas, a guy named Chris Johnson, a pharmacist who was doing well, making 6 figures in a corporate drug store operation. But as he said, just made me sick to my stomach. And what made him sick was so many people coming in to get their prescription filled. And he would do that and then present the bill to them, and they would back up and leave without taking the medicine because they couldn't afford the cost of the pills. And he, as a corporate functionary, had no authority to say, well, wait a minute, you know, you got to have this for your health, so we'll work something out. So he finally got so fed up that he spun out and created something called MedSavers, his own little pharmacy. It's probably about the size of this room right here. It's not a giant conglomerate operation selling everything. You can't buy a chainsaw in this drugstore, you know. You buy medicine. That's what he does. And he caters to people who have no insurance. And because he doesn't have to mess with insurance companies, he is in a position to sell a bottle of pills that would cost $59 at the corporate chain store for $16 and still make a profit. He says he knew about what he calls obscene profit levels that the pharmaceuticals have built into these pills. And he says, I could raise that price to $25. My customers would be very satisfied with that. But he said that would put me on the same mindset as those corporate entities that I left, and I don't want to get into that. He can price it at a level that allows him to sustain his family. He's got 2 little boys. He's able now to have breakfast with them, get them off to school. He's got a better life for himself. The customers know him. He knows them. They show pictures of their family, you know. So it's not just a crass commercial transaction to come into this store. It's a part of the community. And Chris says it's a matter of aligning your work with your values. And this is happening not just in business, but in politics.